What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to WeGeek, your one-stop shop for all things geek. How are you guys doing today? I'm great. I've got another Total War Warhammer multiplayer battle that I wanted to bring to you guys, showcasing a little bit of the vampire counts and their undead tactics. Today we are playing with Manfred von Karstein, and we have him up here on a zombie dragon. Absolutely looks vicious. I mean, just look at that guy. Tendons hanging out. Ugh. But I'm going to throw it in here in a slow play, or slow-mo, and show you my army really quick. Up front here we have several units of zombies. These guys are great for fodder, absorbing charges, having them walk into opponents. You know, that is exactly what they're meant for. If you're using the vampire counts, these guys are not supposed to be your main infantry units. They're just not. They're not very good, so don't throw any ranks into them. I wouldn't even say you have to bring them unless you're taking on an opponent that might have a lot of ranged, like we do right now. We're playing against the Empire. They've got a lot of ranged units, and that's what these games come down to, is kind of knowing your opponent's faction and what their strong suits are. The Empire has some pretty beastly siege units, with mortars, hell rocket cannons, great cannons, steam tanks. They've got a lot of siege equipment, as well as handgunners, crossbowmen. They've got a lot of strong units. But past our zombies, we've got a long line here for grave guards. Some of them are with great weapons, and let's check these guys out here. These are the grave guard with great weapons. I mean, just look at that. That's a beastly sword, rusted. I'm sure you're going to get tetanus with that. And these are a regular grave guard. They've got shields. They're a little tankier as far as their stats go, but the great weapons have armor piercing, which will be pretty decent for facing against the Empire. Let's throw it here into play just to speed things up here. We're going to try and rush forward. These guys have no ranged units. The vampire counts have no ranged units, but they have a lot of flying units. We did bring 2 Fellbats, 2 units of Vorgeist, and a Terrorgeist, which is this giant dragon-looking creature here. And you can kind of see over here slithering to the front. We did bring a Banshee. This is one of the heroes. The vampire counts do not have a morale system, meaning they do not rout off the battlefield. So instead they have devastating. And that's why we brought zombies, absorbing artillery. Instead of a morale system, they have a crumbling system, meaning when their leadership, their morale gets low, instead of fleeing, the units start to crumble. Look at them zombies wiggling forward. So because of that, having a hero unit giving us a area of effect for leadership, that'll help us keep these guys up without having to have our general right next to them. So we see here, this is exactly what you want to be doing with the vampire counts. Bring a couple flying units. They're great for getting over the lines behind them, your opponents, getting to the backs of them. Let's look at the Empire really quick before I get into more of that. So front line, they brought a lot of great swords. That's not bad. They're great infantry, but now they don't have anything here to protect their back line. 2 units of mortars. That's great to be pounding. You already saw they started to attack our zombies. Learning. They're going after our grave guard now. That's pretty smart. They got a couple volleys on our zombies, so we're going to count as a win for us. Bringing our Terrorgeist across here so we can just flank around. Now, seeing as these Fellbats are here in the backside, we're going to throw it slow-mo because things are about to hit the fan. So these Fellbats are going to be doing a couple things. I see a lot of people misusing these guys. These are a very weak unit. Let's look at their stats real quick. Nope, there's their stats. So 14 attack, that's terrible. They're very fast. Poor leadership, meaning they're gonna start crumbling very quickly. And their melee defense is not bad. 48, that's pretty good. Terrible charge bonus. So these guys are going to get in there. They're going to stay for a minute. Their leadership's going to drop, and then they're going to start breaking apart. So I see these guys being used very incorrectly a lot of times. People will just bring them into the battle. I'm seeing a couple mortar volleys. They would have just charged them straight in here, which would have caused them to stop firing for maybe a volley or two. They would have routed, and then that was a unit wasted. They don't cost a lot, but you can be using them for a lot more. So right now, what we're using them for is distraction. You see here, 4 units of these crossbowmen are chasing them. They're moving back here to protect them. Rightfully so. If they would get off a volley or two, they would shred right through these fellbats. But it's doing a few things. Not only is it keeping these guys tied up by keeping them focused in the back, but it's also keeping them from firing forward, and it's keeping my opponent's attention now spread multiple ways. And you can see here, we're going to throw it into play. Shit's about to hit the fan. Excuse my language. So we're issuing multiple orders. We're taking our Vargeist. We're setting them in. We're having these guys just charge forward. Banshee, she's ethereal, meaning she doesn't take as much damage. So we're just charging her right in. Not going to do a lot, but it's going to keep them tied up. It's going to do some HP damage to this unit. You can see over here on the left hand side, it's dropping a little bit. Not great, but she'll be there to help lead our Grave Guard. Opponent's starting to realize what's going on here. Turned his crossbowmen around. Got a couple volleys on our zombies, which is why we brought the zombies, because that's going to take them up. Now we're bringing our Vargeist in on the crossbowmen. Terrorgeist is going to be coming in, dropping a spell here, the Fate of Buna. This is a direct damage spell, and you can kind of see what's going on. The health on this unit is dropping fairly quickly, which means we're going to be able to take care of them really fast. Back to slow motion here, because stuff is happening so quickly, and that's what you want with the vampire counts. So we've got our Manfred over here just dropping spells. We've got our Vargeist. These crossbowmen are now completely useless and a complete waste of money for the Empire. They got off about one or two volleys. Come on, camera. 1 or 2 volleys, and that was on the zombies, which is what we wanted anyway. We have our Terrorgeist coming in here on the mortar, so now they're going to stop firing. We're going to quickly take care of them. Let's look at what kind of kills they have. 4 and 33, probably from the zombie units that hit. Maybe a few on our Grave Guard. Oh, a good bit on our Grave Guard. Whew, these guys got tore up. That's alright. Demigryphs coming forward. They're going to charge into our zombies. Great. They absorb the charge. Now we're going to bring our Grave Guard in here, try and tie them up. Throw it back into play. So, flying units for the vampire counts. What do? They not only, and now we're bringing our Fellbats in. I know we were just in slow-mo, but we're going to bring it back because I've got a very big point about the Fellbats. So, the flying units, they do a lot of things. Firstly, being able to get into the back line and disrupt things. Secondly, the enemy, for the most part, and this is a good tactic against vampire counts as well, the enemy, for the most part, has nothing now to defend his back line. He just committed his Demigryphs, which is a very powerful unit, up here to the front lines, taking out a very trash unit of zombies. I mean, these guys aren't going to rout. There's 90 of these zombies left, so they're going to be tied down. They're going to be crumbling quickly, but they're going to be tied down. Then we'll get our Grave Guard in here, and we'll tie them down even longer, so essentially wasting these 2 Demigryph, a very expensive cavalry unit. Whereas now we've completely taken out all of his ranged units, all of his mortars, his crossbowmen. So yay us. And that's what I like the Fellbats for. Being able to disrupt them by having them in the back lines, keeping their attention preoccupied back there, plus being a second force to bring forward and cause a final rout. That extra little charge. They have terrible, terrible stats when it comes to charge, but it's enough to cause a rout for morale-based units. We have Deathclaw taking on our Lord. Distracted completely, which is terrible, but there's a lot going on. We're micromanaging a lot of flying units here, dropping spells around the battlefield, so it's very easy to do, and we're going to lose this engagement here as, well, this is exactly what Deathclaw is for, one-on-one engagements. We notice this, bring our flying units across. We're going to try and tear him up and get Manfred out of there. Let's drop this down. Demigryph's still tied up. We're not going to be winning this fight with a half chewed up Graveguard and a regular Graveguard. We're just not going to be winning it. But we're going to be tying them up so we can win other engagements. Graveguard with great weapons, taking on great swords. We're going to be winning this one pretty easily. Let's see if we can get some good action here. Ooh, that guy up there getting flown. Ooh, 2 more units. Very good. So we're going to be winning that pretty easily. Flying units, Fellbats, very good for chasing down units. Crossbowmen that come back from routing, they're just good for that. Bad micromanaging on our part. Heavy Graveguard unit we could be using up here to wrap things up. And you see that there, we realize it. We don't need to be chasing down these mortars. They don't have their artillery units anymore. You know, they're starting to come back here, but they're just a... Let's look at their stats here. They're just terrible, terrible infantry unit now with 10 attack, 5 defense. They're not going to be doing anything. We don't care about them at all. Fellbats, we just want them to chase these guys down so we don't have to worry about them coming back. Whereas our Vargeist and Terrorgeist will be taking down Deathclaw here. And we were able to get Manfred out of here, but look how low he's got. Great point. Come on now. Great point for Empire. Karl Franz with Deathclaw. Very good on one-on-one engagements. Damn near took out Manfred, which is a good counterpoint for the Vampire Counts. You want to try and take out their general, things that are giving leadership to the units around them. Because if you can do that, you're going to be getting crumbling to happen. Let's see here. We dropped a spell on them. Aspect of the Dread Knight, which boosts their leadership as well as causes terror. Just trying to get these guys to rout. If we can get them to rout, we should be able to wrap things up really quickly. We have no units crumbling in a minute, so we can't show you that. But we can show you here what a rape looks like. We have the Vargeist just tearing Karl Franz up. Deathclaw is just surrounded. Last-ditch effort. He's trying to get Karl Franz over here to take out Manfred. He's starting to break through. Not good for us. Chasing him down. We notice. Let's get him out of there. Fellbat's coming through. Just take out these mortars really quick. And let's look at the carnage now. Here we go. We've got some crumbling going on. So these great swords are going to start dying on their own. You kind of see these guys in the back. They're just not good. Fantastic charge. Dropping these great swords down. Let's look at the final stats here. So Manfred didn't get very many kills. He was dropping spells. We used him as a spellcaster mostly this round. Whereas our Banshee, 55 kills. That's pretty decent for one unit. Would have liked to have got her one-on-one with Karl Franz over here, but he was in the air, so that's not an option. Zombies, absolutely no kills. Well, 1 or 2. That's okay. These guys cost, what, 100 gold coins or whatever you'd like to call them? That's okay. They did a very good job at either absorbing charges, taking on volleys from the crossbowmen or mortars, so that's what we wanted them to do, which saved a little bit for our Graveguard here. Graveguard, not the most kills in the world. Even the great weapons, we did go 1 unit to do 126. Those were the ones taking on the other great swordsmen, but they could have done more. However, the Vargeist, the Terrorgeist, the Fellbats even, this is where the bulk of our kills are coming from. The Vargeist got into the back ranks, took out the crossbowmen very quickly. That's an easy amount of kills there. The Fellbats wrapping things up, making sure nobody's coming back, or trying to make sure the routing units don't come back. Whereas our opponent threw a lot of ranks here into the demigriffs, only to have them be tied up and taken away. Great Swordsman took out a lot of zombies. I'm not surprised by the amount of kills they have here. But what we learned here is the flying units for the vampire counts is where their power comes from for taking out ranged units. You want to try and get them into other ranged units, or the enemy's ranged units, as quickly as you can. But at the same time, you don't want them to be left out there, because if they have some halberds, some demigriffs, they're going to chew right through them. I've got another replay where I play as the Empire taking on some vampire counts to kind of show you the counter tactics that you can take against them. But I hope you guys learned a little bit, or at least were entertained. Be sure to smash that subscribe button if this is your first time stopping by. I'm going to be sure to throw more of these up here, as well as other content outside of Total War. This game's just new. I'm addicted to it. I want to get up as much content as I can because, well, I'm addicted and it's new. But be sure to smash the like button if this is something you enjoyed. I'm going to be doing more of them. Thank you for stopping by. I can't wait to talk to you guys again. Have a good one.